According to the Royal Academy of Spain, a desert is a sandy or pebbly territory that lacks or has little vegetation because of an almost total absence of rain. It is also an unpopulated or undeveloped area. The word desert is thus one of ample semantic range. It alludes to the most arid ecosystems on the planet, but it also evokes historical, literary, philosophical, and religious concepts. The concept of a desert is intimately tied to mankind's destiny. It was the desertification process that converted dense tropical rainforests of yore into African savannas, which in turn favored the first hominids to walk erect and the eventual appearance of the Homo genus in primeval Africa. It can be said that human beings are, to a certain degree, a consequence of both a primary desertification process and of the climate change that took place many hundreds of millions of years ago. Since the beginning, man has learned to live in the desert, and this is no coincidence. After the oceans, deserts constitute the largest ecosystem on the planet. More than 50 million square kilometers of land, constituting almost a third of the above-water landmass, distributed among all continents alike. The first civilizations arose along river oases in deserts. The Fertile Crescent that extended throughout Mesopotamia and Egypt saw the birth of the first stable communities based on agriculture and on animal domestication, destined to form pastoral societies. Thanks to the accumulation of man-made wealth, writing, government structures, and organized religions flourished there. In other words, the pillars of contemporary society. The three great monotheistic religions are linked to the desert, and they refer to it when they speak of purification and retreat. Hermetism was born there as a way to encounter one's own interior and give oneself to God. Revealed truth and theophanies became manifest in those non-places. There is where Yahweh revealed Mosaic law, where Christ revealed the new law, and it was there where Muhammad had his own revelation. Notwithstanding its apparent physical limitations, the desert has been throughout history a fertile place for spiritual creativity. Anchorites already existed before Christianity, but it was during the height of Christianity when thousands of people consumed with religious fervor decided to live an isolated life in the desert, abandoning their families and material possessions. Deserts have many common characteristics, but they are also markedly different from one another, depending on the specific location on the planet they're in. However, we must realize that a desert is a natural ecosystem that can only be explained by the planet's atmospheric reality as a whole. All great deserts of the Earth come about as a consequence of two natural cycles that manifest themselves regularly. Some of the more well-known deserts originated from the Hadley cell, a sustained rise of hot air that takes place near the equator. Thanks to it, the intertropical flows that arise from the humidity emitted by the evaporation and transpiration of tropical rainforests cause high-altitude storms that don't allow for precipitation in its environs. The Sahara Desert, the largest on Earth, as well as the Gobi Desert, are a consequence of this inexorable atmospheric phenomenon, as well as the Karakorum and the Kalahari Deserts. Deserts are simultaneously a consequence and a key factor in the delicate balance of the Earth's climate system. The other cause for the existence of deserts are cold ocean currents, which, upon arriving on coastal areas, impede the penetration of the humid air mass towards the interior of the territories that border on coastal lines. These coastal deserts are usually located on the western border of continents close to the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. The most common ones can be found on the Pacific coast of the American continent, such as the Atacama, Chihuahua, Mojave, Sonora, and Colorado deserts. Some of them, like the Atacama, caused by the cold Humboldt Ocean current, is considered to be the driest place on the planet. Although the common denominator among deserts is their extremely arid nature and their almost total lack of vegetation, they are extremely diverse from a morphological point of view. They can be categorized into three main typologies: sand deserts, rock deserts, and plateau deserts, better known by the Arab term hamada, such as the one found on the northern fringe of the Sahara Desert. Deserts are far from homogeneous, notwithstanding what some of their most typical depictions might show. The dunes of the Sahara, for example, which present the monotony of their infinite grains of sand and an endless succession of dunes extending towards the horizon. The vast majority of deserts are quite morphologically diverse. Many are made up of fields of rolling hills, others of flatlands marked by trenches and protuberations molded by wind and the sun. We also sometimes find gorges and canyons nearby groups of hills and plateaus, salt fields, and of course, seas of sand. In all these cases, desert landscapes depend not only on their land types, which are at times rich in mineral deposits, but especially on wind processes. Polar deserts constitute a special type of desert. They are almost always subject to high atmospheric pressures due to the omnipresence of an anticyclone, which is why they have low or no yearly precipitation levels at all. The most common deserts of this type are the ones found in the interior of Antarctica and on the Great Ice Mass in Greenland. Although such a large presence of water seems incongruent with the concept of a desert, the truth is that because the temperature is always below freezing, the ice makes it extraordinarily hard for life to take hold. Near the polar deserts, we find the tundra, open lowlands with permanently frozen subsoil, which mark the limits of plant life with respect to the poles. Steppes are ecosystems usually found on flat and vast territories with a predominantly grassy vegetation, and they are a product of extreme climate with scarce precipitation. Steppes share a great deal of the characteristics of deserts, such as their aridness and the extraordinarily difficult conditions for the birth of life. Thus, they both display very similar landscapes that are difficult to distinguish upon first sight. On the other hand, steppes seriously risk becoming deserts as climate change continues to influence our planet.